What if the secret to better energy, sharper cognition, and stronger muscles after 60 had less to do with what you remove and more to do with what you add? Here's a fact that surprises many. Past the age of 50, our body begins to lose up to 1% of muscle mass each year. But what's even more important is this: the brain follows. Loss of lean muscle is directly linked to cognitive decline, emotional dysregulation, and a drop in metabolic health. It's not just about staying lean, it's about staying sharp, mobile, and independent. And here's where most people get it wrong. Many seniors drastically cut carbs and sugar. A smart move in theory. But in the process, they also cut nutrients essential for brain health, mitochondrial energy, and muscle preservation. So today we're flipping the script. Instead of focusing on what to cut out, we're focusing on the 8 most powerful zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods to add in. These are foods backed by real neuroscience, metabolic biology, and nutritional psychology. Foods that support dopamine production, reduce neuroinflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and even help preserve muscle protein synthesis as you age. In today's video, we'll explore why certain zero-carb foods can outperform even supplements in protecting the aging brain, which amino acids stimulate muscle growth even in your 70s, and which foods provide them naturally, the neuroscience of food reward, and how some zero-sugar superfoods can actually curb cravings by balancing your dopamine circuits. And most importantly, we'll give you clear, evidence-based tools: what to eat, how often, and why it works. This isn't about trendy diets or one-size-fits-all hacks. It's about grounding your nutrition in biology and reclaiming your vitality using science. If you're over 50 and you want to feel stronger, think clearer, and age with purpose, stay tuned. Because these 8 superfoods may be the upgrade your brain and body have been waiting for. If you've spent any time in a cardiologist's office in the last 30 years, you've likely heard this warning: watch your cholesterol, cut back on eggs. But here's what neuroscience is making clear. For most healthy individuals, dietary cholesterol from whole eggs does not raise the kind of cholesterol that clogs arteries. In fact, for seniors, whole eggs, including the yolk, may be one of the most complete brain and body foods available. Let's break down why. Inside a single egg yolk is one of the most important nutrients for an aging brain: choline. Choline is a precursor to acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that supports learning, memory, and even the fine motor coordination required for balance and movement. And as we age, acetylcholine naturally declines, and this is one of the factors involved in memory loss and cognitive slowing. What's fascinating is that choline doesn't just help form acetylcholine, it also helps maintain the structural integrity of cell membranes, particularly in the brain. A 2011 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that higher choline intake in older adults was associated with better verbal and visual memory performance. Not just in theory, but in real world function. Now, here's where it gets even more powerful. Eggs contain all 9 essential amino acids, making them a complete protein. This matters because after 50, our bodies become less efficient at using protein to build muscle, a process called anabolic resistance. So seniors need more protein, not less, and it needs to be high quality. Eggs meet that standard, providing around 6 grams of protein per egg, easily absorbed and biologically available. What's happening in your body when you eat a whole egg? You're delivering leucine, the amino acid most responsible for triggering muscle protein synthesis. You're also getting vitamin D, which is essential not only for bone health, but for immune regulation and neuroprotection. And importantly, you're supplying a full range of B vitamins, including B12, which helps protect nerve function, something that becomes increasingly important after age 60. Now, let's talk cholesterol. A large-scale review in BMJ, British Medical Journal, 2013, showed that moderate egg consumption, about 1 egg per day, is not associated with increased heart disease or stroke in healthy individuals. And more recent research suggests that the cholesterol in eggs may actually raise HDL, the so-called good cholesterol, which helps shuttle excess cholesterol out of arteries. Still, balance is key. If you already have familial hypercholesterolemia or specific lipid sensitivities, speak with your physician. But for the majority of aging adults, eggs are not the enemy. They're a superfood, a simple tool to apply. Try starting your day with 2 whole eggs paired with leafy greens or avocado for added micronutrients and healthy fats. If you're focused on muscle retention, consider adding an extra egg white or 2 for added protein without more fat. You might notice better energy, improved satiety, and over time, stronger cognitive clarity, especially in the mid-morning hours. Have you noticed how your focus tends to drift if you start your day with toast or cereal? That's no accident. Those foods spike blood sugar quickly and leave you crashing by 10 a.m. A protein and fat-rich breakfast built around eggs stabilizes your blood glucose, balances dopamine release, and primes your brain for focus. And remember, skip the egg white only trend. You're throwing out the most nutrient-dense part of the egg. That yolk is where the choline, vitamin A, lutein, and zeaxanthin live. Compounds that protect the brain and eyes. So the next time you crack an egg, see it not just as breakfast, but as a daily investment in your brain, your strength, and your longevity. Imagine a food so powerful it could reduce inflammation in the brain, support the formation of new neurons, protect your heart, improve mood, and even enhance insulin sensitivity. All while containing 0 sugar and virtually 0 carbs. That's not a supplement ad. That's the science behind sardines and other wild-caught fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and anchovies. And for seniors, these foods are essential. Let's start with the brain. Your brain is nearly 60% fat by dry weight. And the most important fats it needs are omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid. These fats are critical to neuronal function. They literally become part of the brain cell membrane, influencing fluidity, communication between neurons, and the ability to form new synaptic connections. In aging populations, this is gold. A 2016 meta-analysis published in Nutrients showed that higher omega-3 intake is linked with slower cognitive decline and even structural brain preservation in areas related to memory, like the hippocampus. DHA, specifically, is involved in neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells. And EPA helps reduce neuroinflammation, a silent driver of age, cognitive, and emotional issues. And the benefits don't stop at the brain. EPA and DHA also enhance insulin sensitivity, which is crucial for seniors. Insulin resistance isn't just a metabolic issue, it's a neurological one. When cells become resistant to insulin, the brain gets less glucose, its primary fuel, leading to brain fog and fatigue. Omega-3's insulin signaling, reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes and supporting mental clarity. Have you noticed how some days your joints feel stiff or your energy just doesn't rebound? Chronic low-grade inflammation is often the hidden culprit. Omega-3 itch fish are nature's anti-inflammatories. They inhibit pro-inflammatory cytokines, reduce joint pain, and may even improve mobility, making movement more accessible as you age. Here's what the research shows. In a study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, adults over 65 who ate fish high in omega-3s at least twice a week had a 35% lower risk of dying from heart disease if they ate less low floating fish at higher levels. So even if you had the right part of the chip, had a high percentage of it at low levels of floating fish. That's not just correlation. Omega-3s help lower triglycerides, stabilize heart rhythm, and keep blood vessels flexible. Now, let's talk about sardines specifically. They're a powerhouse. because they're small, low on the food chain, and incredibly nutrient dense. This means they're less likely to contain mercury and heavy metals compared to larger fish like tuna. And beyond omega-3s, sardines are packed with calcium and phosphorus, which help maintain bone density, coenzyme Q10, essential for mitochondrial energy, vitamin D, which many seniors are deficient in, and B12, crucial for nerve health and red blood cell formation. A simple tool to apply: aim for 2 to 3 servings of wild-caught fatty fish per week. A serving is about 3 to 4 ounces, roughly the size of your palm. Sardines on a salad, grilled salmon, or mackerel with lemon and olive oil are great options. And if you're on the go, tin sardines in olive oil are one of the most convenient zero-carb, zero-prep meals available. Pro tip: choose wild-caught over farmed fish. Farmed fish often contain lower omega-3s and may be exposed to pollutants or antibiotic use. Now here's something interesting. The brain's reward system responds positively to omega-3s. When your diet includes these fats, you're less likely to crave sugary or processed foods because your brain is receiving the raw materials it needs to function well. This is especially important in seniors, where cravings can become misaligned due to nutrient deficiencies. So the next time you're planning a meal, consider this. 1 serving of wild-caught fish could be doing more for your brain, mood, metabolism, and longevity than most supplements. If this insight is helping you rethink how you fuel your brain and body, consider subscribing. There's a lot more science-backed wisdom like this coming your way. Beef liver might not top the list of popular foods, but if there were a single food designed by evolution to support the aging brain and body, this would be it. No carbohydrates, no sugars, and yet it's packed with the exact nutrients many seniors are missing. Let's start with a question. What do fatigue, brain fog, brittle nails, and shortness of breath all have in common? They're all symptoms of micronutrient deficiencies, especially in iron, B12, and vitamin A. And beef liver is nature's most concentrated source of these. 1 serving of liver, just 3 to 4 ounces, delivers more bioavailable iron and B12 than most people get in several days. That matters, especially as we age, because B12 absorption declines with age due to reduced stomach acid and changes in gut function. Without adequate B12, the myelin sheath that protects nerve fibers can degrade, impairing everything from mood to motor control. In fact, the Framingham Offspring study found that nearly 40% of adults over 60 have B12 levels low enough to cause neurological symptoms. Liver corrects this fast. And unlike synthetic supplements, the nutrients in liver are already in the active forms your body knows how to use. But that's just the beginning. Liver is also rich in retinol, the active form of vitamin A that supports vision, immune function, and skin regeneration, all areas that become more vulnerable as we age. Unlike beta-carotene from plant sources, retinol doesn't require conversion in the liver, which becomes less efficient in later decades. Add to that copper, selenium, zinc, and a powerful antioxidant called CoQ10, crucial for mitochondrial energy production, and you've got a nutritional powerhouse. So what's happening in your brain and body when you consume liver? You're replenishing the very systems that power your cells, particularly the mitochondria, which are responsible for converting food into energy. Mitochondrial decline is one of the hallmarks of aging. And without enough of the right cofactors, like those found in liver, your energy drops, your brain fog increases, and your recovery slows. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: toxicity myths. Some people worry that liver is where the body stores toxins, but that's a misunderstanding. The liver filters toxins. It doesn't store them. And the nutrients it does store are exactly the ones we need more of as we age. Of course, quality matters. Always choose grass-fed, hormone-free liver whenever possible. A simple tool to apply: if you're new to liver, start with 1 to 2 ounces once or twice a week. That's all it takes to begin correcting long-standing micronutrient gaps. You can mix it into ground beef, cook it gently with onions, or even freeze it into small capsules and swallow like a supplement. And if the taste is a deal breaker, high-quality desiccated liver capsules are available and retain most of the nutrient value. Just be sure they're made from grass-fed sources and don't contain fillers. Have you ever had a week where you slept enough but still woke up tired? That's often not a rest problem. It's a cellular fuel problem. Your body needs micronutrients to build energy. Liver provides them in the most concentrated, natural form available. As seniors, we don't need more calories. We need more nutrition per calorie. Liver delivers. So if you want to feel more energized, think more clearly, and support your brain and metabolism in the most natural way possible, consider this. One small serving of liver each week could be your most powerful nutritional upgrade. You've probably heard of collagen in the context of skin creams or supplements, but collagen is far more than a beauty molecule. It's the most abundant protein in your body, forming the scaffolding for your skin, joints, blood vessels, and connective tissue. And after the age of 40, we begin losing it fast. By 60, your natural collagen production has dropped by more than 50%. The result? Thinning skin, joint pain, slower recovery, and even reduced muscle strength. But here's the good news. You can restore a significant amount of what's lost, not with expensive powders or pills, but with collagen-rich whole foods. Let's talk about bone broth, skin-on chicken, tendons, and slow-cooked meats. These are zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods that deliver the exact amino acids your body needs to repair and rebuild its structural tissue. Here's what's happening inside the body when you consume collagen-rich cuts. You're getting large amounts of glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, amino acids that are rarely found in muscle meats, but are essential for building collagen, elastin, and the connective framework of your joints and organs. Glycine in particular plays a key role in anti-immune pathways, sleep regulation, and even glutathione production, one of the body's master antioxidants. In a randomized controlled trial published in Current Medical Research and Opinion, 2008, participants who took collagen hydrolysate daily experienced significant reductions in joint pain, particularly in older adults with osteoarthritis. But here's what many don't realize. Food sources like bone broth and slow-cooked tendons provide the same bioactive peptides found in supplements, often in a more absorbable, synergistic form. Let's take bone broth as an example. Simmering bones for hours extracts not only collagen, but also minerals like magnesium, calcium, and phosphorus, all vital for nerve function and bone strength. And it's hydrating. A warm cup of bone broth delivers electrolytes and protein without raising blood sugar or insulin. Now, why skin on cuts and tendons? Most people focus on lean meats, but when you discard the skin, cartilage, and connective tissue, you're missing out on the very components that support tissue elasticity, joint cushioning, and even gut lining repair. The gelatin from these cuts helps heal the gut lining, which becomes increasingly permeable with age, contributing to inflammation, poor nutrient absorption, and even mood disturbances. A simple tool to apply. Try incorporating one serving of collagen-rich food 3 to 4 times per week. That might look like a cup of bone broth with lunch, chicken thighs with the skin on for dinner, or a slow-cooked oxtail or beef shank stew. These aren't just comfort foods. They're biological support systems. Have you noticed how stiff your knees feel after sitting too long? Or how your skin bruises more easily than it used to? These aren't just age quirks. They're signs of collagen depletion. By restoring your intake from whole food sources, you give your body what it needs to maintain structure, resilience, and flexibility. There's also a surprising brain benefit here. Glycine helps buffer the excitatory effects of glutamate in the brain, leading to calmer mood, better sleep, and improved cognitive recovery after stress. In fact, some studies suggest glycine taken before bed can help shorten the time it takes to fall asleep and improve sleep quality, especially in older adults. So collagen-rich foods aren't just joint and skin boosters, They're whole body resilience builders. And if this science-backed breakdown is helping you rethink your nutrition strategy, consider liking and subscribing. This community is all about giving you the tools to age stronger, not weaker, with the full support of neuroscience and physiology behind every choice. You've probably heard the phrase, "You are what you eat." But in truth, a more accurate version might be, "You are what your gut can digest, absorb, and transform." And for seniors, especially those aiming to stay sharp, lean, and energized, fermented foods are among the most overlooked zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods that can transform how your entire system functions. Let's break down why. Your gut microbiome, the vast community of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes living in your digestive tract, plays a crucial role in everything from immune function to brain health. In fact, the vagus nerve provides a direct two-way communication highway between your gut and your brain, often referred to as the gut-brain axis. Now, here's the issue. As we age, diversity in the microbiome naturally declines. Add to that years of processed food, medications like antibiotics or antacids, and low-fiber diets, and the result is often gut dysbiosis, an imbalance that can manifest as inflammation, poor digestion, reduced nutrient absorption, fatigue, and even anxiety or depression. So how do we rebalance? Fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, sugar-free pickles, and fermented radishes are rich in beneficial bacteria, probiotics, that help populate the gut with microbial allies. These foods contain lactobacillus and bifidobacteria, which help strengthen the gut lining, regulate inflammation, and improve digestion, all without adding sugar or carbohydrates. But the benefits go far beyond digestion. In a 2019 study from Nature Microbiology, researchers found that people with high microbial diversity, particularly with more anti-inflammatory strains, had better cognitive performance, lower cortisol levels, and less anxiety. That means supporting your gut health is not just about avoiding bloating. It's about emotional regulation and mental clarity. And here's something truly fascinating. Certain gut bacteria actually influence dopamine and serotonin production. When your gut is balanced, your brain is more likely to produce the chemicals that support motivation, calm focus, and emotional resilience. Think of fermented foods as mood-supporting nutrition. A simple tool to apply: include 1 to 2 tablespoons of fermented vegetables with meals, once or twice per day. Start small if you're new to them. Raw sauerkraut or kimchi alongside a protein-rich meal can boost digestion, reduce post-meal inflammation, and enhance nutrient absorption. Make sure you choose live culture, unpasteurized varieties, the ones that are found in the refrigerated section of your grocery store, and diversify. Put 5 to 10 proteins of your preference in the dish. That way you get a variety of different variations of your favorite stick. Avoid any products with added sugar or vinegar, which short circuits the fermentation process. Ever notice how sluggish you feel after a meal, or how your skin reacts to certain foods? That's not just getting older. That's your gut asking for support. When the microbial community is off, your immune system becomes overactive and inflammation goes up, both of which accelerate aging in the body and the brain. And there's a deeper benefit here too. Eating fermented foods is a form of gentle hormesis, a mild stressor that trains your body to become more resilient. The compounds created in natural fermentation, including short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, have been shown to reduce inflammation in the brain and even promote neurogenesis in the hippocampus, the area of the brain tied to memory and learning. That's why for seniors looking to protect cognition, improve emotional balance, and support immunity, fermented foods are a foundational tool. So don't think of sauerkraut or kimchi as side items. Think of them as zero-sugar neural and immune enhancers. When people hear cheese, they often think indulgence, not nutrition. But here's something most don't realize. Certain aged cheeses, particularly Parmesan, Pecorino Romano, and aged Asiago, are virtually zero carb, sugar-free, rich in protein, and packed with longevity-enhancing nutrients. And for seniors, they can be one of the most strategic superfoods in the fridge. Let's unpack why. First, these cheeses are incredibly high in protein, particularly in the amino acid leucine, the key driver of muscle protein synthesis, MPS. As we age, our ability to build and maintain muscle declines due to anabolic resistance, a condition where the body becomes less responsive to protein intake. Leucine helps overcome this resistance. It acts as a trigger, flipping the switch inside muscle cells that tells the body to build new tissue. Aged cheeses like Parmesan deliver up to 10 grams of protein per ounce, with a leucine content high enough to stimulate MPS, even in older adults. Why does this matter? Because muscle isn't just about strength or appearance, it's a metabolic organ. More muscle means better glucose regulation, lower inflammation, and greater hormonal balance. Seniors with more lean muscle mass have significantly lower risks of type 2 diabetes, falls, fractures, and cognitive decline. Now, what about the fat content? Aged cheeses like Parmesan and Pecorino are relatively low in fat compared to soft cheeses, and they contain no lactose and virtually zero carbohydrates. That makes them ideal for anyone seeking blood sugar stability and insulin sensitivity without sacrificing flavor or satiety. And there's more. These cheeses are rich in vitamin K2, a critical yet often overlooked nutrient that helps direct calcium into the bones and away from arteries. This is especially important as we age, when arterial calcification and osteoporosis both become major risks. K2 helps strengthen bones while reducing vascular stiffness, a dual benefit few foods offer. You're also getting bioavailable calcium, zinc, selenium, and riboflavin, nutrients essential for nerve function, immune health, and mitochondrial efficiency. A simple tool to apply: use 1 to 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan or Romano as a daily protein top-up. Sprinkle it over eggs, vegetables, or salads, or pair it with a hard-boiled egg or nuts for a quick blood sugar stabilizing snack. It's shelf-stable, easy to portion, and naturally satisfying due to its umami-rich flavor. Ever found yourself hungry just an hour after eating a high-carb snack? That's the brain seeking nutrients it didn't receive. Protein and fat-rich foods like aged cheese stimulate satiety hormones, curb cravings, and help retrain your reward circuitry away from sugar and toward more sustainable fuel. And the taste? It's sharp, savory, and versatile, making it easy to enjoy regularly without boredom. There's even evidence that the fermentation process used to age these cheeses creates bioactive peptides with anti-inflammatory and anti-hypertensive effects, meaning they may help lower blood pressure and systemic inflammation, both of which are strongly tied to age decline. So when you think of cheese, don't just think dairy, think targeted nourishment, a dense, digestible, brain and muscle supporting food that fits perfectly into a low-carb, zero-sugar nutrition strategy for seniors. As always, choose high-quality sources, aged for 12 months or more, made from grass-fed or pasture-raised milk when possible, and free from additives or anti-caking agents. Aging isn't about shrinking, it's about refining, and a food like aged cheese reflects that perfectly. Concentrated, resilient, and packed with power, let's take a moment to step back and reflect on what we've just explored. You now know that the path to strength, clarity, and resilience in your 60s and beyond isn't paved with restriction. It's built through strategic nourishment, not with gimmicks, but with biologically intelligent foods. Foods that work with your body's aging processes, not against them. Let's quickly recap the 8 zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods we covered. Eggs, a complete source of brain-boosting choline and muscle-building protein. Sardines and wild-caught fish, rich in anti-inflammatory omega-3s that protect both heart and cognition. Beef liver, the ultimate micronutrient-dense food. B12, iron, vitamin A, and CoQ10 for energy and nerve health. Collagen-rich cuts, bone broth, tendons, and skin-on chicken to support joint function, skin elasticity, and deep sleep. Fermented foods, gut-repairing, mood-supporting probiotics that regulate inflammation and promote clarity. Aged cheeses, dense in leucine, calcium, and vitamin K2, ideal for maintaining muscle and protecting bones and arteries. Each of these foods supports a specific system that tends to weaken with age. Brain function, metabolism, muscular strength, joint integrity, gut resilience, immune clarity, emotional balance. But here's the deeper insight. Aging isn't a slow decline, it's a biological opportunity. When you begin feeding your brain and body with high-density, low-inflammatory foods, your system responds quickly because it's been starved for exactly these nutrients. Remember, your body isn't breaking down because of age alone. Much of it stems from nutrient deficiencies, chronic inflammation, blood sugar instability, and impaired mitochondrial function. And the beautiful thing is, these are modifiable, even after 60, even after 70. So what's the actionable challenge? Pick one of these superfoods, just one, and add it to your week. Maybe it's starting the day with 2 whole eggs instead of cereal. Maybe it's swapping out processed snacks for a few sardines or a slice of aged Parmesan. Or maybe it's sipping bone broth in the afternoon instead of tea. Start with consistency, not intensity. You don't need a full dietary overhaul to feel better. You need a small, smart shift that you can stick with. That's how real biological transformation happens. And don't underestimate the psychological ripple effect of making just one nourishing choice. When you begin feeding your body what it actually needs, your cravings, mood, and mental clarity begin to change. Not through willpower, but through chemistry. Now, if you found these insights helpful and you want more grounded, science-backed tools for living stronger, thinking sharper, and aging with intention, I'd invite you to like this video, subscribe, and join this growing community. This channel is about evidence-based empowerment, taking the most respected neuroscience and physiology and turning it into tools you can actually use. And if something from today's video stood out to you, a particular food you're going to try, or an insight that helped reframe aging, drop it in the comments. I read them all, and they often guide what I explore next. Remember, this next decade of your life is still programmable. The brain and body remain plastic, changeable if you give them the right inputs. Let food be your first signal to your biology that you're choosing strength. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.